Uh,
Says it's an empty post.
okay.
It says you're live, but it says it's an empty post.
Okay.
Oop, nope, nope, we're good.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome to our 50th book club discussion. Woohoo!
In our
Happy
very
Monday
first
night.
book club discussion with the new technology that allows us to stream from Zoom directly to our Facebook group after a few months. So apologize for that
Yes.
little snag there, but we somehow have managed to make it work. So we are very excited.
Yes, we are super excited. And we are live streaming directly to the book club page, you'll see, not Kristen Harmel's page. So that's great. So we have a special night and we're so excited. Like I said, it's our 50th book club discussion. And I can't think of a better person to celebrate this night with than the one and only Katherine Center. So I'm Lisa Harrison for all the new members, and I'm here with my co-host Brenda.
Hello.
And let's get into it. Let's get to the reason everyone's really here to discuss the rom-commers. Would you go ahead and introduce our special guest tonight?
I'd be happy to, Lisa. I'm honored to introduce Katherine Center tonight. She's the New York Times bestselling author of 10 novels, including How to Walk Away, Things You Save in a Fire, Hello Stranger, and what we're here for tonight, the Rom-Commers. Katherine writes laugh and cry books, deep romantic comedies about how life knocks us down and how we get back up. She's been compared to both Jane Austen and Nora Ephron. The Netflix movie adaptation of her novel, Happiness for Beginners, hit the global top 10 in 81 countries, and the movie of her novel, The Lost Husband, was a surprise Netflix sensation in 2020, hitting #1 and landing in their top 25 movies for the year. Her books have made countless best of lists at Audible, BookBub, and Book of the Month, as well as Goodreads Best Books of the Year and Amazon's yearly top 100 books. Katherine lives in her hometown of Houston, Texas, and is recovering from a hurricane with her husband, two almost grown teenagers, and their fluffy but fierce dog. Welcome, Katherine.
Yay!
Hey, hi guys.
Thank you so
Yay.
much for being with us tonight. We're so excited.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thanks for celebrating this book with me. And yay for 50 episodes. Amazing.
Oh, thank you, Katherine. Well, I tell you, I must say, I could not wait to read the rom-commers from the moment I heard you speak about it in Columbia when you came to a book signing there. And I just have to say that the characters that you created, they were quirky but deep and lovable and complicated. And we'll kind of unpack some of that a little bit later, but I just wanted to say how much those characters were, developed and engaging and enchanting.
Well, thank you.
So we'll get into questions from readers in a moment, but could you give us a short summary for those wanting to hear about it but haven't read it yet? And book club members, our routine is spoilers are okay after 7:15 p.m. So we'll give a spoiler warning, but in the meantime, Katherine, tell us about the rom-commers.
Yeah. Well, it's a romantic comedy about two screenwriters who have to write a romantic comedy together. So it's basically a rom-com about writing a rom-com. And I think that in some ways that kind of says it all. But basically, Emma, who's our main character, who's right behind me with the curly red hair, she has always wanted to be a screenwriter, and life kind of got in the way. She had family stuff she had to deal with, and she never really got to reach her potential. And at the start of the story, she gets this sort of dream job to work as a ghostwriter, rewriting a screenplay for a very famous sort of household name screenwriter, this guy, Charlie Yates, who's her favorite screenwriter of all time. And she's really excited. This is like her big break. And she goes to LA to take this job to rewrite this terrible screenplay. and she basically finds out that he does not want her there, and they are at odds. He not only doesn't want her there, but he doesn't like romantic comedies at all, and he doesn't even believe in love. He thinks it's a Ponzi scheme. So they kind of start out clashing, and then they fall madly in love. And that is not a spoiler. That's just something to look forward to, right?
Yes.
That's the fun of the journey, is how we get there. So yeah, that's the book. It's my favorite book that I have ever written. I think it is the book that I was put on this earth to write for us. I madly love Emma and Charlie. I feel like they're real people. My kids are like, they're not real, right? And I'm like, I don't know. Are they? Maybe they are. I kind of feel like
they are.
They feel real to me. So yeah, it's a great story. And it is my own personal comfort read. Like, I think I must clearly be my own target audience, because whenever like anybody's like mean to me in the grocery store, or like I'm having an off day and I'm feeling weird, I will find myself opening up the copy edited PDF of this book on my laptop and just reading a couple chapters just for a little mood boost. So it definitely
talk to Emma about it.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes me laugh and it makes me feel better, and I love hanging out with these guys, and I hope it does that for everybody else too.
Definitely. I loved this book so much. I loved Emma. I loved Charlie. I loved all the relationships and I mean, like, I'm such a fan of yours, and I've told you this before, but this book for me, I felt like Emma was my best friend. Like, I just wanted to be right there with her through all of the journey.
I love that. I feel like I'm best friends with Emma too. We're all best friends together.
We're all besties. We're all besties. So funny. I do have an advanced question from Instagram.
Oh, sure.
Ashley would like to know, and her Instagram is books with no pictures.
Oh,
Um, how does it feel to have this book baby out in the world?
it's really good. Well, let me say this. It's good because I'm so excited about it, and because I'm so madly in love with this book. I mean, I really am my own target audience. Like, it's a joke that I make, but it's actually real, because um whenever anybody wants to be a writer and they're asking me for advice, like how should I be a writer? I always say, you should write the story that you yourself, if you had a free Saturday and a fuzzy blanket and a hot cup of tea, the book that you yourself would want to read. Like, that's the only compass that you can follow as a writer. You can't write with your head. You can't try and imagine what your high school English teacher would want you to write. You have to write the story that your own heart is longing to read. And that really is what this book is for me. And I think that my books have gotten better over the years. I mean, I've been writing a long time. Like, I'm kind of like the great grandma of rom-coms at this point. Like, my first book came out in 2007. So, I've been at this a while, and I think I am getting better, not worse. And I think part of the reason for that is because I am getting better and better at defining what it is that I love in a story, I myself, and figuring out how to do that for other people. And, there's no guarantee when you do that other people are going to be longing for the same kind of story that you're longing for. But that's the only option you have, right? Because you can't think your way through it. You have to feel your way through it with the heart. So this really is like a book that is fully, wholeheartedly from my own inner compass about what I love in a love story. And in a way that is so glorious and so joyful to bring it out into the world. And in another way, it's like really kind of agonizing too. Because I love this book so much that it's almost like painful for me, because like, if anybody's ever like not even mean about the book, but like less than like wildly enthusiastic, I'm just like, oh God, like don't talk, don't say anything more, because I just love this book so much.
I'm not listening.
Yeah. Because, like, for example, like, I do read my own reviews, right? So I do go on to Goodreads sometimes when I need to find stuff to put on my website and things like that. I do go and read the reviews, but I always sort them by 5 stars, because I'm just too tenderhearted. Like, I don't want to see anybody being mean to anything, but especially for this book, And I always try to be like really like I mean, I've been at this a while, and I know that not everybody likes the same stuff, and that's okay. Like, we're all different. We all have to find our own compass about what we love. But somehow with this particular book, I'm like, no, everybody needs to love this book. Like, I need the whole world to love this book. So yeah, so it's been, I'm a little close to it, actually. I think that part of it has been hard because I feel very protective of it, the way you do kind of like with your kids or something. It's just like, I'm just like,
Oh,
everybody.
absolutely.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
still,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'm sorry, there was a little bit of delay, Catherine. I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, that's okay.
We have another advanced question. This one's from Jennifer, and I'm going to hold up the book here because it's just so fabulous. And Jennifer says, when I picked up the book and saw the color of the edge of the pages, it put a smile on my face. And she wants to know, was that your decision or the publisher? And I want to footnote it and say also, what about these end papers? Because they rock. So tell us all about it.
Yeah. It was not my idea. It was the publisher's idea. And the minute that they suggested it, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I mean, I was very thrilled, but I didn't even really know that that was an option. But they came to me and they said, we love this book a lot and we feel like it's very special. And we are trying to think of ways that we can get it to kind of stand out in the bookstore so that other people will notice it and, jump in. And so that was kind of the idea. They said, the sprayed edges are not as common in rom-coms as they are in like fantasy, so you're seeing a lot of that in certain sections of the book world, but you're not really seeing it as much in this section yet, although I guess we're starting to see it more. So that was the idea. They wanted to help it stand out, which I'm very grateful for because it is hard in life to stand out. And then the other thing is the end papers. And so I'll tell you something fun about the end papers. I've got a book here too. So Emma, in the sort of big grand finale, or one of the really great scenes in the book, puts on a maxi dress, like a sundress that has fabric that has these monstera leaves. That's what these are called, all over it. And so these end papers are actually meant to be, these end papers are meant to be the fabric of Emma's dress. And we kind of wanted to put her in that dress on the cover, but because the figures on the cover are so big, we couldn't do it and still have the title and my name be legible. Like, we tried it, but it was just too busy. So we decided to keep her in just like a simple plain dress, but then that's how this wound up happening. We were like, well, let's just put those monstera leaves as the end papers. So if you read the book and you get to the scene and she's in a dress with monstera leaves, you'll know that that's what this dress looks like, because that's where it came from.
Awesome. I love that. I love it.
That is great. I did want to mention too quickly. I'm sorry, Lisa. For our readers out there today, please put your questions for Catherine in the chat. We are taking live questions as well. And again, after 7:15, which is just coming up very soon, we will allow.
Might as well give it now. Spoilers.
Okay, you hit it, Lisa.
Actually, my next question from the chat is not a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
But after this question, it will go that way. We do have a lot of those. We have a lot of comments about how much they love the end papers and they love the sprayed edges in the books. There's so much love in the chat right now for that.
Oh, me too.
So, no, it's so beautiful. So my question is, since you mentioned the title, the couple of members wanted to know, was the Rom-Commers always the title?
It was, actually, from the very beginning. I had the idea for the title and the idea for the book at the same time. So I thought about writing a book about two screenwriters writing a rom-com together, and then immediately thought, and we could call it the Rom-Commers. What I didn't know at the beginning was how that name would develop through the story. Because, it winds up working its way into some dialogue and into some arguing that the characters do. And then it kind of finds another path into the sort of grand finale of the whole story. And I didn't see any of that coming. Like I wasn't even going to talk about the title in the story at all, but then it just kind of happened, which is of
Oh,
course
wow.
the fun thing that
Wow.
happens when a story really comes to life in your head. The characters just start talking and you're just taking dictation and they say all kinds of things you're not expecting them to say. And yeah, so can I talk about that? Are we at the point where I can say one thing that Emma says? Yeah, are we nodding?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
There's a
We have
moment.
yeah, we have a moment. We have a guest to pop in just a minute.
Oh, well, I don't know if this is a
Awesome.
spoiler, but there is a moment in the story when Emma and Charlie are fighting, and she's really mad because he has all these screenwriting awards, and he has them like jumbled in a
Yes.
drawer,
I
and she's
loved that
so
scene.
I love
offended
that.
that he is not, grateful for his blessings, that he's just piled them all like junk in a drawer, and so she's kind of yelling at him about it, and at one point he's like, fine, just take one, and she's like, fine, I will, and I'm going to take it home and I'm going to spray paint it pink, and I'm going to say that I won it for writing a rom-com that was so rom-commy it was called the Rom-Commers. And that was like never my intention for why this book would be called that or anything. It just like she just said it one day and I typed it down and I was like, well, that's how this all happened. There it is.
And that was like a
I love
perfect,
that.
Yeah,
perfect scene.
that was a
And
fun
That's
fight.
while
Go ahead.
Brenda is about to let our we have a special book club guest, actually. She's amazing. And while she's about to let her in, I wanted to read this comment from Julie. She says, Katherine, your characters jump off the page and into my heart. Many of your characters live rent free in my head, and I think they're real too. I love this book. So,
Thank you. I think if we all believe really hard, then maybe they will be real. Maybe it's like a Tinkerbell
yeah.
situation.
Oh, that
And
is a wonderful
we would
comment.
like, I know, we would like to welcome our very special guest. Some of you may know her. She is the New York Times bestselling author of book we may have heard of and read for our book club called Summers at the Saint. So, welcome, Mary Kay Andrews.
Welcome, Mary Kay.
Hello, hang on. Have I got my camera? Oh, I guess I better turn my
No,
camera on.
it's off.
Hi, it's not like I'm new at this. Hi, Katherine.
No,
Yay!
you're a veteran now at the technology.
I am
Yay!
so thrilled to see you. I just got shivers. I got shivers when they said,
Oh, they didn't tell you I was coming?
uh-uh.
No,
It
we
was
like
a
to surprise
surprise.
people.
Okay, good, because I have a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, are you ready? All right, I love the book, but you've got Emma and Charlie doing a rewrite of It Happened One Night, which you seem to have an idea that that's the ultimate rom-com. What makes it the ultimate rom-com?
Do I think the ultimate rom-com? Well, wow, I have 50 different answers to this question. I do love that movie, genuinely, genuinely. And I think
Yeah.
it really does have all the things that Emma says it does. I think that there is great tension between the two of them. And
Right.
moment in the haystack when he almost kisses her is like frigging phenomenal, 100 years after they filmed it or whenever. But my personal ultimate rom-com is actually When Harry Met Sally.
Okay,
And
now
Oh,
And there was a moment early on when I was just starting to do this book when I toyed with the idea of having that be the screenplay that Charlie was redoing. And then to me, that whole idea was such an abomination. I couldn't even write it. I was like, what if somebody gets the idea to actually do this? And I was so traumatized at even the fictional idea of that happening that I pivoted and I went to this. But I do really love that. Do really love that movie.
okay, but I mean, sexual tension. Sabrina.
Yeah, the Audrey
And they
Hepburn.
did a terrible remake of that.
Yes.
It does not stand up. But I don't, and okay, so I gotta say Sabrina. And then if we're still on the Audrey Hepburn kick, Roman Holiday.
Yeah, that's a great one. They don't wind up together though.
No, they don't.
Ooh.
So it's not the most
But-
satisfying in the world. I mean, it's a
Right.
great movie, but it is sort of disappointing when you get to the end.
I know. Okay, well then,
Another great Audrey Hepburn is Charade. Do you know Charade?
well, that was the next one
Mhm.
because you got the bonus of that. Now you talk sexual tension. Cary Grant did not want to make that movie with her. He thought he was too old.
Yeah, yeah. But it does work. I mean, they are great together in
She's
them.
pursuing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
She makes it very clear, you, me, in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. 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 Actually, Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert could not stand each other on the set of It Happened One Night either. And they hated the movie and they thought it was terrible. And they were completely shocked when it swept the Oscars and got all of the big categories.
Wow. I
So
had no idea.
can I tell you one other thing about Clark Gable just while we're here?
Yeah.
Sure.
My grandmother was a twin, an identical twin, and possibly the cutest person to ever live. And she and her sister lived in Houston in the 30s, late 30s, and they were dancers. And in the late 30s, Clark Gable moved to Houston. He married an heiress and lived in Houston for a little while. And he was in a show, and my grandmother got to dance in the show with Clark Gable.
Okay,
And
well,
I told this story on book club, I mean, on book tour, and my mom was there with that night and she corrected me because she was like, when you tell it, you make it sound like she was in the chorus or something. She waltzed in his arms on the stage. So
you have DNA that Clark Gable danced with.
That's
That's
true.
amazing.
yeah, kind of cool. Kind of cool. Which is why I thought I would be an amazing line dancer when I decided to take line dancing 2 years ago, and then I turned out to be terrible. So my grandmother is very disappointed in me up in heaven, I'm sure.
I have to give you props for writing about writing because I don't think I could do that.
Really?
No,
Would you be self-conscious?
I don't think I could make writing a part of a plot the way you did. You were so clever with it. Because how do you make something that's inherently so boring and solitary, exciting and sexy? And you did.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
Props.
you
Thank you.
did.
I think that I had some things that I wanted to say. You know,
Huh?
I think I've been feeling pretty feisty about romances lately and how they get sort of picked on and I rolled at. I'm like, why
I
is romance
know.
more ridiculous than zombies, right? Or like space aliens? Like, why is it the
Right.
most ridiculous category?
Or
And so,
people who take over a bus and hold it hostage.
yeah, I
Right.
mean, I don't know why we're so hard on them. I suspect it's because it's a thing that girls like.
Mm-hmm.
But I've like in recent years, especially since the pandemic, I've decided that I'm just going to start standing up very loudly for love stories because I really feel like we'd all do a lot better in the world if we were a lot nicer to love, you know? Like the world could
Yeah.
use a lot more people who are a lot better at love.
Yeah,
in a lot of different ways.
I get feisty when, people dismiss women's fiction, rom-coms, and but men's action adventure,
Right.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
total, it
Right.
gets viewed, it gets respected.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a situation. And I've decided to really start standing up for it because I really think that love stories are incredibly nourishing.
Agreed.
And I think those of us who read them and love them get better at love as a result. And I think we're actually saving the world one love story at a time. And I think the world should be thanking us for our service and not complaining.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and I think fortunately right now, don't you think we're in a rom-com renaissance?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's
I
been
like that phrase.
yeah, I
Mhm.
think especially since the pandemic, right? We were all so isolated and so
Yep.
Hmm.
looking for hope and looking for connection. And I think that's exactly what we all sort of started turning towards. But I will also say there are a lot of rom-coms out there, but not all of them are good.
No, they're not created equally.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of them aren't good because we don't take them seriously and we don't study them and we don't pay attention to what makes a good one because it's a whole art and it's a very unique genre.
Yeah.
And that's partly why I wanted to write the story. Like Emma in the story says a lot of things that I myself have wanted to say over the years. And so it was actually really fun to get to watch her, you know,
Yeah.
sort of go
She is-
after Charlie
yeah.
about his assumptions.
Yeah, I love how she goes toe to toe with him.
She does.
Even though he's
Oh, well,
important and has so many awards, he just shoves them in a drawer.
Mhm.
Yes, he takes blessings for granted.
Yeah.
yeah, I love that scene. We talked about it a few minutes ago where she's, really giving him the devil for, stacking them up in the drawer and,
Yeah,
just telling him all about it. I loved it.
I did too. Emma is she's one of my favorite characters I've read recently. I loved everything about her. She was great. And
It's
that
I
actually,
know.
the screenwriting is funny that you brought that up, MKA, because we had a couple of comments about how hard, or was it hard or easy for you to write a rom-com about writers writing rom-com as a rom-com writer? I don't know if I said that right, but I think y'all got it right.
I think it was easier. It was easier. I wasn't even,
Really?
I know that it's very meta because it's a rom-com about writing a rom-com, and I get that. But for me, I am thinking about this stuff and talking about this stuff so much all the time that it just felt totally normal and comfortable. I mean, my poor family, right? The number of times that they have had to sit there and listen to me dissect some crappy rom-com that I saw on Netflix and talk about, like, why was it terrible and how did we go wrong? And 3 hours later, I'm still parsing it. This was like, I could go to this book and have these people talking about it, but they're both writers and they're both equally invested in what makes a story work or not work. And it was really easy and fun for me. I loved it. I mean, that book could have been 1,000 pages long. I never would have gotten tired of writing it.
Well, that's always that
Oh,
Awesome.
fear I have with my books. They will end up 1,000 pages long.
Did you
I
say
have a same editor.
you tend to write long and then go cut things back, or do you go
Yeah.
short and add?
Oh, I never have to go longer.
Okay.
I have to go back and cut out the fat and the gristle.
Okay.
But I've never had an editor come back to me and say, we could use another 150 pages. Could you expound on that? No one has ever said that to me.
that's hilarious.
Even though all of your early writing was newspaper writing, right? So
Yeah, wouldn't you think I would know how to write concisely? It's like I got let out of prison and decided, I think it's write an avalanche of words.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I
the
love
other-
it, Mary Kay. Well,
Well-
Mary Kay, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, let me get out of here because nobody came here to see me. They came to hear the brilliant and
They
hilarious.
just didn't know you were coming.
They were
They
excited when they
you
saw
too.
you.
Well, I want to say that, Katherine has this talent that is underappreciated in the world of fiction, and which is writing light and writing funny. I write light and funny. I mean, I write some serious stuff too, but it's really, people think because it reads easy, it looks easy.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, I agree with that. It is hard work to make it look easy.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think my books read very conversational,
They do.
and so it sounds like I'm just sort of thinking out loud on the page, but of course that's been draft after draft after draft of paring it down and shaping it to make it feel that way. And your writing also reads easy in that way. It's like it just flows. You just float through the story, and I'm sure that does not come easily for you either. I'm sure that's draft after draft.
Not so many drafts. It's just me pounding my head against the wall and screaming in anxiousness. All right, I am out. Love the book.
Thank
Glad
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming to say
Yeah,
hi.
thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you, Mary Kay. Have a
Bye,
great
y'all.
evening.
Good night. Oh,
Woo!
we love
That was exciting
MKA.
to stand myself. That's not
I
very
know.
good.
I have to say this because no one else probably has even noticed, but all for me, I lent my coworker my copy of the Rom-Commers and I forgot to get it back from her
Oh, no.
today. So I keep wanting to hold it up and I don't have it. I have this. I don't
Oh,
know
well,
if you're,
that's also good. Sure. That's very special.
Why not?
but I keep reaching
Huh.
for it every time. It's just so natural for me. And I'm like, shoot. Okay.
That's
Anyway,
hilarious.
back
Oh,
to,
well,
yeah.
yeah, I feel like this is at this rate, we're going to be on here. We're going to keep Catherine all night because it's just so fascinating.
I have no plans.
But
Woohoo.
we did want to dive into some, you know, character type issues, and
Okay.
we had some questions when Lisa and I discussed it the other night. There are so many great relationships in this book, you know, Emma and Charlie, Emma and Logan, her, you know, boyfriend turned friend,
Yeah.
the sibling relationship between Emma and Sylvie, even Charlie and Jack. So our question for you, well, let me give the book club question first. Members, tell us in the chat what was your favorite relationship in the book. And for Catherine, what was your favorite to write, or what did you find the most rewarding or exhilarating to write?
Oh man, that's a great question. Well, for me, the love story relationship is always the most fun. So like I think of the books that I write as being sort of half women's fiction and half rom-com. And I think of the women's fiction half as the struggle, the personal growth, whatever the goal is that the main character is trying to get to and having trouble getting to, or whatever hardship in her life she's trying to overcome. Always there's something like that in the books that I write, right? People are struggling in some significant way. And I like to have that in the story because I really think that struggle in our lives, in real life and in fiction, is where wisdom comes from. And I'm a huge fan of wisdom. And I think fiction is a particularly good place for all of us to go looking for wisdom because stories are great teachers. Stories are great at helping us empathize with other people, step into other people's shoes, imagine what it's like to be somebody else, face their struggles with them and as them, and go through those struggles and come out on the other side and pull lessons out of those struggles in these really meaningful ways. I mean, it's not real life, but it's kind of the next best thing. And I think that's really valuable for learning how to be a better human. And I like that about fiction. I think that's a particular magic that fiction has. And I always want to make sure that my stories have that. But I also want the stories to be fun. I also want somebody to take their shirt off. I want there to be smooching. I want there to be banter. I want there to be flirting. I want there to be play. I want there to be joy. So for me, the hardship and the struggle in the story is where the wisdom is coming from, and it gives it some gravitas, and it teaches us wise lessons. And I love all that. But I just want us all to have a really good time too. I want us to laugh and to swoon. And for me, that's what the love story is for. It gives us this positively valenced feeling of anticipation that we're moving towards something good. Because it's a rom-com, it's going to have a happily ever after. That. That's a
Yes.
guarantee of the genre. And so no
Yeah.
matter how bad things get in the middle, we are moving towards something good at the end, right? And so, it's a very different experience when you don't know that for sure. When it could end up in any way, then it's an uncertain feeling of anticipation. And if you're reading a tragedy, then it's a lot of dread, right? It's a lot of negatively valenced anticipation. But with a romance or a rom-com, you're guaranteed that happily ever after. And so it just lets you just sit there and it's like you're in a lazy river in an inner tube, just floating towards the good stuff, and no matter what hard stuff is happening on the way, it's never overwhelming because we're all going to be okay in the end, right? And I love that feeling. So for me, the most fun, and I love all kinds of love. I'm a huge fan of friendship and parental love and all the good kinds of love in the world, community love. But there's something really extra fun and magical about falling in love, and I think a good love story is there to give you that simulated feeling of falling in love. And of course, what's so great about that is that when your brain simulates that feeling of falling in love, it actually is releasing all the chemicals too. So you're walking around feeling happy. I mean, they are literally chemically mood elevators to read these stories. So even when you're not reading, you're like at the grocery store, like shopping for apples, and you're like, you know what, life is pretty good. Even if it's not, because you
Yeah.
got all the chemicals.
But that's why it's such a gift, because y'all were talking, you and
Yeah.
Mary Kay were talking earlier about rom-coms and not being appreciated. And I think they're way underappreciated, because what a gift to somebody who's going through a struggle or who's having a difficult time and who's able to immerse themselves in the story and feel good about it. You know,
Yes.
that's a big gift.
I mean, that's what I used
Hmm.
and stories for. Exactly. I mean, I meet
Yeah.
people in every single signing line who are saying, I found you when I was sick. I found you when my leg was broken. I found you when my mom was sick. I found you when I was going through divorce, and I just needed something to lift me up. And that is literally exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lift us all up, including myself, right? I'm trying to help us all feel better and make us laugh and swoon a little bit. And the one other thing I will say about the relationships, just to not completely forget your question, is the love relationship is always the central thing for me. Like, that's always the most fun of all the relationships, because it's kind of the most intense. The volume's up to like 10. But I think the other relationships in the story are really important, because one of the things that I need as a reader is I'm kind of a little bit of a tough audience. Like, I don't always believe everything. I don't always believe stories. I really kind of am waiting for the writer to like convince me that it's true. And this is the thing about fiction. It's not true going in. And so, but it's hard to get me to suspend my disbelief. And so part of that for me is that the characters have to feel really, really real. And even if the situations they're in are sort of like high concept, crazy situations, I need logically for the story to have taken us there step by step in a way where I'm like, okay, I buy this. Like, this could happen. Is it the most likely thing that would ever happen? Maybe not. But within the context of the story, yeah, I see how we got there. Right. And so I really try to make everybody feel as real as possible, from the names that they have, to the things that they say and the things that they do and the ways that they fight and the predicaments that they're in. And so in this book in particular, like, I'm the middle girl of three sisters. And so I felt like I could do Sylvie and Emma's relationship really well, because like I get sisters. I never had a brother, so I'm not quite as confident on brothers, but like I know how to do sisters. And I wanted to make her relationship with her dad feel very real and very specific, right? And to make sure that they are talking about things that matter, and that he's a very particular person, right? He used to play the cello, and then he was in an accident, but now he's taken up all these other instruments that he can play one-handed, So for me, like, one of the big things about being a writer is that the way you're basically lying. I mean, that's what a novel is, right? It's just a big, really elaborate lie. Telling a good lie,
No.
with lots and lots of detail in the story, so that people are like, well, okay, that tracks. Like, I guess that's got to be right, And so I always do try to make all the characters really, really specific, just so that they feel 3D and real, so that we believe it. Because I have a hard time believing stories, and if the characters are too cardboardy or too cliche or too, like, if they don't have enough specifics about them, I'm just like, this feels fake. Like, I don't think this piece of fiction is real. And then I get sort of, a little salty about it. So anyway, that was a very long answer to your question.
I love it.
No, that was great. I do want to read a couple of our members' answers to their favorite relationships. So Erin says hers was Charlie and Jack. Shelley says has to be Emma and Charlie. Leslie said Emma's dad and the neighbor lady. Oh, I did love that one
They
too.
were so cute together.
They were so cute. Susan, Emma and Charlie, Doris, Emma and Charlie, Debbie, Emma and Charlie, lots of Emma and Charlie. And then Nikki said also Emma and her dad. She loved that relationship. Maria said her father with Mrs. Atsuka, the neighbor, so beautiful. And January said Emma and her sister.
Yeah.
Leah says Emma and Charlie, and she was able to break through all the walls he built around his heart, especially after how Margot treated him. That is a good point, Leah. So we've so many comments and so much love. I wanted to
Oh,
read a couple of those before the next question. So we have a question from Lori, and she says she kind of has it's kind of a two-part. The first one, did you know from the start that Jack Stapleton and Hannah from The Bodyguard would make an appearance? And then secondly, I don't know how to pronounce this disease, the Meniere's disease is
Meniere's.
fairly rare. And how did you decide to include it? She said that she honestly had never heard of it until a few years ago and found out that two of her close friends deal with that disease and it affects them every day. She loves the book and it's her favorite.
Um, well, for the Meniere's disease, my high school boyfriend's dad had it. And actually, right after I was out of college, I went and I stayed with them and worked for them for a little while in Colorado for a year. And while I was staying at their house, he had his first drop attack, and he was actually up on a roof, mending a roof, and he fell off the roof. And it was a one-story house, but he broke his arm. And so while I was staying with them, he was going through lots and lots of attempts to figure out how to control it, how to manage it, how to reduce it, because he was at a point where he would have these crazy episodes with the Meniere's disease. It's basically like an inner ear issue. Nobody really knows what causes it, but it makes you feel like the room is moving, right? You're sitting still, but and so he would have these days where he would have to go lie down on the bed, and it felt like the room was just spinning around, like flipping over. So, I think there's lots of different variations on how intense it is, how much it affects people's lives. Some people are living with it and managing it fine, but I happen to be living with him at a time when it was really kind of dominating a lot of things, and he had stopped eating salt. I mean, that's where I learned about all of that stuff. So, and I don't know why it came to me in that moment for him, for the dad as a character, but it was something from, 20 years ago that was just in the back of my head as like an experience that I knew about and had kind of witnessed up close. And so it just kind of somehow showed up in the mix. And now I've already forgotten what the first question was. What was the first question?
Did you know from the start that Jack Stapleton and Hannah were going to make an appearance?
Yes. Well, yes, I knew that I wanted them to be connected stories, which they are. It's not a sequel. They're two totally different stories, and you can read them in either order, but it is connected to The Bodyguard. And basically, Jack Stapleton in The Bodyguard is a famous actor, and he got famous in a movie called The Destroyers, which was kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of movie that kind of took over and sort of made him a household name. And so when I knew that I was going to write a book about screenwriters, I immediately thought, oh yeah, and the guy screenwriter can have written the movie that made Jack Stapleton famous. So from even before I started writing, I knew that they knew each other. I did not fully know exactly how that would shake down in the story, but I did then get this idea when I was writing pretty early on, to have them go to brunch in LA and to run into Jack Stapleton, which they do. And that is one of my very favorite scenes in the book. And
Me
when
too.
when I wrote, right after I wrote it, I was so excited that I immediately called my mom and I made her, I read the whole scene to her. I was like, you're not going to believe it. They just ran into Jack Stapleton. And my mom adorably sat there and let me read her the whole thing.
I
Yeah.
loved that. Oh, I love Jack Stapleton, and I was so excited when I saw you when you were here in Atlanta, and so I knew that he was going to make an appearance in the book. So I was so excited when I read that scene, and I love him. Is he going to pop up in any more of your novels?
So this is a good problem to have, but what I have recently found out, now that I am very fortunate to have had a couple of my books turned into movies, what I have found out from my film agent is that movie production companies don't really like it when you have connected characters in books. Because basically once they buy the rights to your books, they own the digital versions of those characters. So like digital.
Oh,
So like think about Happiness for Beginners, like all those characters, the digital versions of those now belong to Netflix, weirdly. And so
gotcha.
but this is true for all the companies across the board. They just don't want their characters running around in other people's projects. And so they just like to keep it clean and just have them be standalone kind of books. So I have been,
Gotcha.
it has been suggested to me by my film agent that I should not be connecting stories in the future, which is very heartbreaking to me because it is so fun
Yeah.
to connect stories. And of course, it's like a long honored tradition in the romance world, to like do a Bridgerton and, have a giant family full of brothers and sisters and marry them all off book by book. But yeah, I definitely am going to try to stop myself from doing that in the future. But that's all
Gotcha.
right. It's all right. We're going to have a great time anyway.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Neither
I
did
know
I.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn the conversation more like more of a downer, but I did want to ask you about kind of a theme in your book. Um, and that's about living with guilt because, Emma is traumatized by this guilt about her mother dying, and she's trying to protect her sister because she feels guilty about that. She takes care of her dad. She doesn't focus on her own needs, and the one time she passes the baton to her sister, she thinks, the dad has the accident where he falls down the stairs. So I was curious about was it a conscious theme throughout the book, or did it unfold as you were writing it?
Um, I think it unfolded as I was writing it. I didn't start out knowing that that was going to be a theme, but I knew that there had been this family tragedy that had kind of derailed Emma's life. I knew that from the beginning, and I knew that the sort of opening chapter where she gets this job to go to LA was going to be the thing that was going to be her chance to heal from a lot of the stuff that she was carrying. I just didn't exactly know what the stuff was going to be. I knew it was going to be her big break career wise. I do think that in general, something that I believe about real life and fiction is that much of the personal growth that we do in life involves reassessing wrong assumptions that we've made about who we need to be in the world and how we need to live. And so with characters, I do always try to think about what does this person need to learn, right? What wrong assumption does this person have about who she is that the story can force her to rethink? That's really like one of the big questions that I'm always kind of trying to grapple with before I even really get started writing. Because I think for me, it is really satisfying in a story to see personal growth. I don't want the characters to not grow. I want the story to force them to confront their misconceptions about the world and how it works. And I want to see that change happening. I think that's part of what's really satisfying about a story for me as a reader. And so I knew she was going to have something, but I don't think I fully knew exactly what it was until I had written the scene about the mom and how they lost her.
Yeah.
And that scene made me cry as I was writing it. And
Oh,
it was much more, I'm getting shivers just talking about it, but it was much more vivid and 3D once I started writing it than I had thought about before I wrote it. Like it just kind of blossomed in my head as I was writing. And the final scene where Emma is sprinting down the mountain trying to find somebody who can help them, that whole thing like got me. And I think that was the moment
yes.
when I realized that's what Emma was carrying forward, was that, she couldn't save her, and also that that the mom had wanted to go somewhere else on their vacation. She hadn't even wanted to go on the rock climb, right? And
Yeah. In
that
fact, I'm glad you brought that up because I had a question about that, and this is for our book club members too. There's so many powerful scenes in this book, and some really funny ones, but there's so many. So I'm curious about what our readers, what their sort of gaspable moments were. I'm making up that, but like for me, it was like when they're hanging, when Emma and Charlie are hanging over the cliff in their car, and they're you know
Yeah.
having this discussion. I'm like, and, and then, but there were so many others, when Emma was running away, when she was on the diving board and kind of, drunk, and we don't know
That
what's
was
going to happen
mine.
and what Charlie's going to do. So I'm asking for our members to share, but also, like you just said, you teared up when you wrote that last scene. Was that the most difficult one?
yes, I think that moment. And I have a whole family that rock climbs. My entire family, except for me, they're all rock climbers. And my daughter actually just broke her leg rock climbing this spring.
Oh
Wow.
no.
Yeah, so it was a little close to home, but that's a good thing when you're writing. You want to write stuff that's close. Like I
Yeah, you're
wrote this book.
authentic.
Yeah, I mean, if it's getting you, then you know that you are writing it in a way that's hopefully going to impact other people. And that's what you want to do. Like, I really think that even in a story that is hoping to make us all feel better and hoping to lift us up and hoping to make us laugh and swoon and take us in all these good places, we will have a better experience with that story as readers if the story has broken our hearts a little bit along the way, because it cracks you open. It cracks your heart open so that the good stuff can get in better. So I think that heartbreak is kind of essential to accessing the joy in the story. And so I sometimes feel sort of bad about doing terrible things to my characters because they're such nice people. But I also realize that it is necessary for us all to
Absolutely.
experience, right, the kind of joy that I'm trying to access for me and everybody else. And so I do try to make sure that there are emotional stakes. I'm trying to kind of build an argument in the stories about why love matters. And one of the reasons that love matters is because life is really hard. It's full of grief and sorrow and suffering and disappointment
Yeah.
and there's a lot of sadness in human life, and that is the reason why joy really matters, why you can't ignore things that are light and hopeful and joyful. We need that to balance out all the sorrow. If we only just ever focus on the sorrow, then we are kind of ruining our experience here on this earth, which doesn't last forever. So not to go super dark, but I just want to say that, like,
Right.
I do try to break people's hearts a little bit on purpose. And if I watch a light movie that doesn't do that to me, I'm always just a tiny bit disappointed. I really want a love story to break my heart a little bit. I want a moment when I tear up, so that when I get to that happily ever after at the end, it really can land and impact me.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't feel three-dimensional if it doesn't have that component. I love the way you express that. I'm gonna have to replay it, listen to it again.
I know. We've got a lot of great scenes that members have said that they loved. Angela said, I love the coffee shop scene, how Charlie saves Emma. I was cringing for her when she didn't have a plan, but Charlie stepped in. And Rika loved the story of Emma's mom and family trip. Or not necessarily loved. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Their gaspable moment. It was their gaspable.
Yeah.
January said hers was the ceremony at the end, made her throat swell up a bit. Debbie says what worked for her was the complete balance of humor, love, angst, and forgiveness.
Oh,
And
I love
Jeff
that.
says, I'm growing with all the books I read since my mom passed last year, and this sounds like this would do the same. I'm definitely putting this on my TBR. Oh, great, Jeff. Um, Diane says the car scene had her sweating. And Lori says, I absolutely loved when Emma's dad was telling her about love and marriage. I actually read that page to my husband, and I seldom read him pages from my book.
Oh,
Can I tell you something about that wedding that her dad does?
Sure.
So my nephew got married 2 years ago, and he and his bride asked me if I would be the officiant for the wedding. So I got certified online for $35. I'm now a reverend. And I went to Colorado and I married these two lovely and very, very tall, beautiful young people to each other. And that what Emma's dad says in the wedding ceremony that he officiates is basically exactly what I said in the wedding ceremony that I officiated 2 years ago. I mean, I just basically plagiarized all of that from myself. But I fully believe it. I mean, I've been married for a long time now, and I feel very grateful that I married a person who has made my life a lot better than I ever thought it was going to be. And I do think that's true, that if you do it right, marriage is the thing that makes everything else easier. So yeah, so that little speech in there is plucked from real life.
Oh, I love that. Well, we did want to mention two things that we want to mention because we're coming up on time, but we do have a little bit
it has
more.
flown.
If you can stay a couple of minutes past 8, if that's okay.
I'm good.
We have First, we wanted to mention, we know that you have bonus scene from Charlie's point of view that's available on your website, but you can also get to it from your Instagram page. If you go to her Instagram at Katherine Center and go to the bio and click on her link tree, there's a link directly to it. For those of you who don't know or you haven't read it, go get it and read it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I did write a
That's
bonus
fun.
scene from Charlie's point of view. So for the people who are always longing for dual point of view stories, that's a fun little nibble. And then the
Yeah.
other thing that's on my website is I wrote an author's note for this story
Yes.
that is all about sort of a defense of love stories and rom-coms and romance. And it's something I'm very proud of and was very excited about. And then we were so busy sending this book off really early so we could get these pink sprayed edges done, because you have to send it off months and months early because it has to go to like a
Oh,
magical
wow.
fairyland to get them sprayed, that we forgot to put the author's in the book. So there is an author's note to this book. It is not in this book. It will be in the ebook and it will be in the paperback next year when that comes out. But for now, you can't really get it, but it's on my website. So, and it's free. You
It
can just go
is.
to the Rom-Commers website page and just print it off. It's a one page front and back. Just print it off and stick it in your book. And then it's like it never happened. Sorry that we forgot about that.
I love it. I love it.
I
Definitely go
know.
pick
I
that
love it
up.
too. And our members definitely want to know, they will be mad if we don't ask this. Where can they get signed copies of your books?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I have two local indie bookstores that I will go and sign books for you at. So one of them is called Brazos Bookstore, Brazos
Oh,
Bookstore,
yeah.
and it's the name of a river outside of Houston, the Brazos River. And my son is actually working there this summer as a bookseller for his summer job. So we're feeling very bonded. That's my neighborhood bookstore, and they're like 4 blocks away from me. And then there's another really, really great bookstore in Houston called Blue Willow Bookshop. And they're both, online. And if you order from either one of them and then put in the comments that you would like to get it signed, they'll just call me and I'll just come over to the store and I'll sign it to you, and I'll, personalize it up top or do whatever you need. So
Awesome.
it's pretty easy actually to get that done, because that's a high priority for me, is getting you your books and signing them for you if you would like it.
Oh, I'm sure our readers are going to be
Awesome.
very happy about that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
what is your latest project that you're working on? Can you tell us anything about it?
Thank you for asking. I'm so excited about it. So yeah, I'm literally next week turning in the final version of my next year book, which is going to come out in May. So it's a little earlier than usual. I was used to be in July, and then this year I was in June, and next year it's May. So kind of working our way backwards. But it is a story about a woman video producer who has to make a promotional video about a US Coast Guard rescue swimmer. And so she goes to film this guy's job. These are the guys who jump out of helicopters into the ocean to rescue people. And it is a really, really fun story. I'm so excited about it right now that it's like the only thing I want to talk about. Like I just keep bringing it up to my like children and husband, constantly talking about these characters as if they're real people. And I did have to do a lot of research for this book because I did not know very much about the Coast Guard when I got started. My husband actually suggested this idea because he was like, if you want to write about altruism and you want to write about people, you know, doing good things for other people, which is a topic I'm always interested in, he was like, you should look at these rescue swimmers for the Coast Guard because they put their lives on the line every day to pull people out of the ocean. It's a very courageous, intense, dramatic job. So
Wow.
I started researching it and I was like, yes, this is amazing. I totally want to write about these people. And so I applied to the US Coast Guard to get permission to come and like hang out at an air station and meet these folks. And they let me come. And there's an air station near Houston called Ellington Field that's near NASA. And I got to go hang out for several days with these people who I was super intimidated by. But they were incredibly nice. They were so nice. But I just knew that like I had no right to be there. Like I was like, I'm not qualified to be in this space. I don't know even what you people really are doing, but it's very scary. But they were so nice to me. We had a great time. We took all these pictures that we put up on Instagram. And after a while, my husband was like, you seem like you're having a lot of fun. Like, what kind of research are you doing? And I was like, you know, it's not my fault that they're all like very, you know, just scientifically, you know, they're very good looking people. I mean, they just are. And yeah, I had to do a lot of you know, look, somebody had to do it, right? Somebody had to do that research and hang out with these
Yeah. Somebody had to
handsome military people.
make
So
the sacrifice.
yeah. But anyway,
way to take one for the team.
yes, you're welcome. There's a very cute rescue swimmer in the story. His name is Hutch. And yeah, I'm having so much fun writing it. I don't know what to do, but I'm turning it in next week. I actually spent all day today before we got on the Zoom, just working back through the manuscript and just polishing it and making it as shiny and fun and charming as it could possibly be. There's also a Great Dane in the story.
Awesome. Well, we
Very
can't wait for
cool.
that one. Maybe
I
we can talk
know.
with you about that one when it comes out. Well, I
Yeah.
know we're running a little bit behind, but we did have one additional question for you. And this question is coming from one of our book club members, the ever special Bubba Wilson,
Yes.
who is coming to you, I think, from her backyard. Let's see where she's going to be with a question and a surprise.
Oh,
It's loading, so
Bubba.
Hello.
yay!
Oh my God, it's hot out here. It's hot in your book. I've melted. I did look good an hour ago, but you know, whatever. Hi.
Bubba, I think you might be the most fun person in the world.
Yes.
I think so.
Her energy is unmatched.
I thought that you guys were going downhill, like you were talking about downers. I was like, oh my God, am I gonna have to pull them up? But then you started talking about the Coast Guard. So you redeemed yourself. But anyway, we need to celebrate. You can hear me okay? Does this say 10?
Yes.
Not 1? Okay.
You can see the
Yes.
10.
Thank God.
Yes.
So it hit number 10.
It did. Yes.
So we need to do a high five, but first, let's hope I don't kill myself with this confetti. You gotta celebrate. Rom-Commers.
Yay!
Oh, this looks dangerous.
Woo!
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you. That was
Oh,
a celebration that I
we can't
needed.
hear you, Bubba, anymore. Whoop, she did another one.
Another one. She's awesome.
We can't hear you anymore.
Oh, you can't hear me?
She's
Yeah,
back.
we
Now
didn't
we
hear
can.
the second one.
These are loud.
You
High
know,
five.
High
High five.
five. Now, what was the second one for, Bubba? We didn't hear that one.
Well, it was because one is gold and one is multicolored. And because two is a really good number and I couldn't do just one.
yeah, I
Because
support
look, who can do just one, right? I get the last question, but I'm going to skip. So I was going to go do this kind of stuff, but since we're running out of time, I'm going to go straight. I got the world's largest stickies. And we're going to go straight to this one.
you.
Ooh.
Are you telling me I can't pick both?
No,
I have
you have to pick one.
Use one. Ooh,
It's hard.
that is hard.
I knew how to get you.
I mean, obviously, I'm very close with Josh Duhamel, and I wouldn't want to hurt his feelings. I'm kidding. I don't know him at all. I only met him once, so I forgot how to talk. But right now, my little guy Hutch, who I've been writing about, is so cute and so sweet and so charming. I think I kind of got to pick Hutch.
Wow. It's going
Yeah.
to be a great book. It's going to be a great book. And then I need to just give you some crap because it took 213 pages for the kiss. 213 pages. I had to read before there was a single kiss.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But
Something just dropped. Oh. And
Oh
here's
no,
tension
surely there's
was
not
good.
more.
just a
oh,
little
you got
The
it.
snippet.
tension was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the bonus chapter. Yay.
Yes, and it is so good.
Here's the thing about kisses. I don't want them to be over too fast.
No.
I know.
I want to have that
Yeah.
to look forward to. Like
Gotta
I'm
have that build up.
I'm
I
kind
know.
of fussy about like I really want to be made to wait personally, I don't want to be done halfway through and then have to be like, I don't know.
Well,
Sometimes the book will build up the romance and then, something happens at the midpoint, they have a kiss or they go to bed, and then that tension kind of dissolves, and then they have to find another way to bring the tension in, so they bring in like a serial killer or something. And I don't want that. I don't want any serial killers in my love stories. I just want the love. And so that's why I make us all wait till the end to keep that tension going. No
It was
serial
awesome.
killers. That's my guarantee. No serial killers.
It was fabulous. It was my favorite. And there's my stack of them.
I want
So
you to know,
Oh,
thank you.
Bubba came and saw me on book tour and brought me a bag of Bucky's beaver nuggets. And I did seriously
Ooh,
eat those.
yum.
Like I opened that bag right up and I drove back to the hotel, just chomping them down. You can only eat so many before you start to get really sick to your stomach, but I did enjoy them while I was enjoying them. So thank you.
oh, well,
Yay.
One of
Bubba,
my
let me tell
favorites.
you.
I had to do it for you.
It was great. It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Bubba, you're
Thank
going to
you
have
so
to pump up the
much.
energy the next time you're on. This is really too understated.
Yeah.
But thank you,
Yeah.
Bubba, for the
Oh, dear.
confetti, for Catherine, and for the confetti for our 50-year episode, 50
Yeah,
year.
our 50th, our 50th
50th. Who
book
knows?
club
It could be
discussion
50th
too.
year.
Oh,
Oh,
Bubba.
Oh,
woo!
he's a hoot. Thank you,
Oh,
Bubba.
you are the best. Oh, that's a screenshot right there. Okay.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
You guys hold up your books and smile. I'm sure Molly or someone, but we have to get it right here with
No,
Bubba. And
she's
I don't know. I'm
multi-talented.
gonna hold this up. Oh, this has been so much fun, and I know we ran a
Oh,
little
Bubba,
late.
you bring the party, girl.
Yeah, and all the positive energy. The world needs more
Thank-
Bubba for sure. And Catherine,
Thanks
thank you
so
so
much,
much
Bubba.
for hanging out with us late. We know we went past time, but thank you so
And it
much
was
for
hot,
everything tonight.
You guys are
but
awesome.
it was so worth it. Thank you, Bubba.
Yeah.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you guys for having me on. It was such a treat. This is the most fun I ever get to have, and I'm so grateful to you guys
Oh,
for doing the
Good.
Rom-Commers and talking about it.
We are so thankful for you being here with us. There's so much love in the chat. We could probably do a series with
I
questions
know
and comments, but
we
we
didn't get a third of our questions done,
I
but that's
know it
okay
goes
because
by
we
so
had an
fast.
awesome time and we learned a lot of great things.
So thank
But
you.
thank you so much, Catherine, for joining us tonight.
Oh, you guys are the best. Thank you for asking me. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. Well, that's it. We do have a little bit of an after show, but thanks again. And we will, if you want to come back and watch it again, you can catch it on our YouTube page. It'll be posted probably in about a day. You can rewatch this episode because I know I will. And if you have any other questions for us, you can always send them to me or Brenda on Instagram or on Facebook. So thank you guys so much for joining us and happy rom-com night.
Yes, awesome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, Catherine. Yay.
Oh my goodness. That was so
She's the
awesome.
best. And thank you guys for hanging in late. We're still going to do our after show because this is our 50th book club discussion. That doesn't include our
Absolutely.
happy hours or events or other things. But because it's our 50th, we wanted to bring in a couple other special guests, our admin team. So welcome, Molly. And I'm
Hey,
pretty sure
Molly.
Anissa is going to be joining us.
It says joining. It's not
She's coming.
okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know Amber had bad storms and a tree fell and knocked her power line out. So if I'm not sure if she's going to be able to join us or not. I hope so. But if not, she is here in spirit. So, hey, Molly, you're on mute.
Yes, that's because the doggies decided to start barking right as I joined. They've calmed down now, though, so we're good.
So while
Well,
we've got you on, oh, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say we're really happy Molly could join us tonight. And Anissa, bless her heart, is hung up somewhere in.
She's
She is
coming.
okay. She was hung up between the Zoom and the join.
Oh,
But we're
so
happy to have Anissa.
for those of you that don't know, Anissa runs our reading challenge, and she does so much. It's so hard to just say one thing, but she's been uh, a big part of our admin team since the beginning when we started. And we recently brought on Molly and Amber, and Molly does a lot of the social media and Instagram. I work with her so much on Instagram, and it makes me so happy. Then Amber has taken over as our main moderator. She approves your posts and makes sure everything is safe for everyone. So we're grateful for our whole admin team. But while we've got Molly on, or she's having some tech issues. She popped in and then it popped out. So hopefully she can get on. Molly, what's it like for you? Because you've been part of the club from the beginning. And now that you're on the admin side of it, what has that been like for you? And do you have a favorite book club discussion of yours?
Oh, I hate the favorite question.
I know. Or maybe one that like stands out or a moment that you remember something because there's been so many good ones. It is hard to
Oh,
pick.
yes.
I couldn't
Even
pick
Mary
one either.
Kay's this one. Oh my goodness, I love the rom-commers. So there's been so many, and I just been blessed to be here from the beginning, and it's just a great club, and I'm glad to be here. And as far as it changing on the admin side, I'm just here, and I'm just doing my thing and was taking pictures the whole way through. I got Bubba on my phone though, because I had to disconnect from my computer, so I didn't have the background noise. Because if I had it playing and while I joined,
Right.
yeah. So So I got her from my phone, and if I'll have to post those. And if I didn't get good ones, I'll rewatch it so we can get some good ones of her too. 'Cause that was just so special.
Awesome.
And the
It was
happy hours
special.
too. I mean, the happy hour, there's so much. I mean, there's so many
I
good memories.
know.
So
I know. It's been a great 4 years almost.
it's crazy.
I know we're just about to get to that 4-year mark, and we really appreciate everything that Molly and Anissa and Amber are doing to keep the book club going because it has grown so much.
Mhm.
Unbelievably so. I mean, I remember when we were like 300 members, yay!
It
And
is
now we have over
amazing.
33,000 members. Crazy.
So
I know.
growth. Yeah. For those of you that are watching still, put in the chat what some of your, if you have a favorite book club discussion or a moment or something an author said that may have resonated with you, and let us know. Gosh, it's hard for me. Like I can't pick a favorite because there's been so many good ones, but one moment for me that that really stuck with me was, I don't know if you guys remember when we had Sadika Johnson on for the House of Eve. There was a part in the book that talked about strange fruit. And for me, growing up, knowing what that meant, for those that don't know, strange fruit was a term that people used to describe slaves after they were killed or hung from trees. That's what strange fruit was. And so she named a chapter that in that book, and it had to do with avocados. And like the whole time when I read the chapter, I'm not giving away a spoiler of the book if you haven't read it, but because of the title, the entire time I read that chapter, I was on the edge because I just thought, oh God, who's going to die? Someone's going to die. It's going to be brutal. I was so just, that term is something that's just so horrible.
Mm.
She kind of took it back, made it positive. It ended up being a funny thing. And now, from that point on in my life, and I'm going to get emotional. Every time I hear that
Oh,
term, I think of avocados, and it's completely changed to a positive turn. So for me, that is a moment from book club that I'll never forget. So, yep.
oh.
Mhm. And I did not mean to do that. So it's a happy occasion.
That's
Yeah.
Promise.
okay. A little tears is okay. You're fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
It
think
definitely,
we've all had
that was a
those.
moment. Yep. We've had a
Yep,
lot of great
definitely
moments.
we all had those. One thing I remember just is when Patty was talking about surviving Savannah and how the family she chose, the fictional family that she chose, that was based on a real family, and the character she decided to focus on, and then the wreckage was discovered after her book was underway, and the only luggage tag that they were able to retrieve from the ship was the one character that she was focused on, and that just gave me chills. I feel like authors sometimes are meant to write books,
Yeah.
and I feel that about Katherine tonight as well, and she even said that. But I mean, I just that sort of thing just it gives me chills.
Yeah,
Mm.
for
Mhm.
sure.
Mm.
We have definitely had a lot of moments like that, for sure. I'm looking in the comments. Let's see. Whoops.
Yep, and we don't want to forget after the comments to give a little highlight of what's coming up.
Yeah. Angela said that this was her first book club discussion, and what a way to start. Well, welcome, Angela.
Oh,
Yes,
yay.
welcome.
Welcome.
Anissa said she keeps trying to join. Oh, it's her. She's having an update. She put it in the chat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Edie says happy hours contribute to her huge TBR, and there's so many good discussions to share.
And if you are
Cindy,
with us for the, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Cindy says she loved the Ricky love story discussion with Tia Williams. That was a good one too.
Ooh, that was an awesome
Yeah,
one. Yeah, that book is something special.
yeah.
For those who haven't,
Mm,
who are here for the first
that's some
time,
good
we
ones.
have our virtual happy hours every quarter. And Lisa and I offer book recommendations, but our best ones are from sometimes from Ron Block, our rock star librarian, guest on the happy hour, and we often will have pop-in surprise guests just to annoy Ron and
Yep.
to interest
And we
our
never tell them who
members.
they are.
Yeah. So definitely tune in for those. And I'm so sorry Anissa's not able to get on because our reading challenge has been a
Yeah.
really popular component of the book club.
Mhm.
So we will, if you have questions of Anissa, you can ask on the page later since she couldn't get
Yeah.
on.
And Amber's power is still out. We've had terrible storms here in Atlanta tonight, and a tree hit the power line by her. And she's been without power since probably about 5 o'clock. And we were hoping it would come back on, but she's still without.
We're
So,
trying to get Anissa back. She's
yeah, she's trying. And while she is, we might as well go ahead and do some announcements quickly.
okay.
And
She
nope,
might
it's here.
be.
Skip the announcements. Woohoo!
Hello, hello. Good grief. I haven't
I
been on
know,
my
I hate
laptop.
that.
I haven't been on my laptop for a while. I should have probably got on it earlier and made sure that it was going to work, but it's always something. It wouldn't I was on early, like at 7:45. They were sitting and it threw me out and whatever.
You're here. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's
Good
right.
to
We
see
were
you
just
all.
telling our book club members if they hadn't joined us before about the reading challenge and how popular it's been with the
Mhm.
group.
Yeah, was working earlier today on some new ones for you, the three of us or whoever to discuss, but for next year,
Awesome.
Oh
so
yeah,
we can
Awesome.
we
keep it
know we
fresh
have
and
that
new every
meeting
year.
coming up.
So
Yeah.
I unfortunately have like 1 minute. I'm already like 23 minutes late to the thing I was supposed to be at 8. So,
Oh
but I
no.
didn't want to miss
Do,
this. So happy
do you
50th. I mean, it's amazing that what you all have done to get to the 50, and the guests that you've had have been amazing. The happy hours are awesome. It's just a wonderful community, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. I'm blessed to know all three of you personally, and have met obviously
Oh,
several times in person. Brenda, I didn't even know was going to be at the Columbia Katherine Center, and I'm standing there, and all of a sudden she's like, "Hey, Anissa," and I'm like, "Oh," and it just never even had dawned on me because I hadn't planned on going. But it's just an amazing community to be a part of, and what you all have done is just amazing for the two of you to have not met and to have meshed the way that you've meshed, and the book events that we've been able to go to, and hopefully we have a lot more in our future. And
yeah.
I'm so happy to be a part of this very nice corner of the crazy Facebook world.
Well, we're blessed to have you, and well, both of you. Um, it has been a wild ride, it really has. Who would have
Definitely.
thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? You and I,
Do
the,
you
the
have
two,
a
Brenda, the three of us met, and we had to wear masks at a Christy Woodson Harvey event because it was
yeah,
still.
that's right.
So we have a
That's
picture of the
right. The
three of us
first
the
still
time.
first time we
pandemic?
met with masks on. So
Yep,
that's always something to remember.
never forget that. Do you have a book club discussion or moment that sticks out for you?
There are so many, but I was thinking about this, and one that really stuck out for me, just because I know her personally and just saw her in the last couple of days. But Brady Godfrey's was a really, really good one, because Brady writes so differently when she writes with Allison Hammer's Allie Brady as she does as she writes by herself. And I thought that the one that what they have for the followers was just a really
Yeah.
very interesting talk. And Brady's just an interesting person too. She's a physician, has 4
Mhm.
children, writes, solo writes with Allison. I say it's just amazing, and which is true of so many authors. So many of them were lawyers before they became reformed and became authors, and but there's just but I love the happy hours y'all do too with Ron. I mean, Ron's just such a great person, but just a great resource for books. So all the I mean, I think so many of the members come for book recommendations all the time to the page, so I just think the happy hours are great. So, but I need to run. I appreciate you all hanging in there with me
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
get on.
Anissa.
I will see you all
you.
soon. Thank you. You'll have a good night.
Thanks for popping
You
in.
too.
Oh,
Thank you
bye.
for hanging in there.
Yeah, thank you for hanging with me. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
She had another event, so it was really nice. I do want to go ahead and make the announcement. So upcoming, since we talked about happy hours, I want to make sure you guys have it on the calendar. So coming up, our upcoming dates is actually the next thing for us. And oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm saying this. The AANBC Awards are Sunday, August 4th, and Brenda and I will be attending in Atlanta because we're nominated for Book Club of the Year, which is I'm still surprised. So we will definitely keep you guys posted on that. And then on August 19th, we will have our book club discussion of A Happier Life with Christy Woodson Harvey. Yay! Can't wait for that one. And then that little later that week, you guys are going to get a whole lot of us that week. On August 22nd, we have our next happy hour with Ron Block, and that'll be at 7:30 Eastern time. Our book club discussions are usually at 7, and our happy hours are usually at 7:30 Eastern time. And we will have a surprise guest that Ron does not know about. Can't wait for that. And then in September, we have our book club discussion of What You Leave Behind with Wanda Morris. I'm super excited about that one too. She's amazing. And we will be discussing that book. And then we will announce the rest of our year, October, November, and December, at our happy hour on August 22nd. So that's just another reason for you to tune in. So
Excellent.
thanks,
Can't wait.
everyone.
Can't wait for that. Thanks. Thanks
Yeah.
so much, book club members, for staying in with us. We're running over tonight, but there was so much good stuff happening in the discussion tonight. It has been an awesome night.
Yeah.
I want to thank Molly and Lisa, Amber, and Anissa for making this the most just amazing experience ever. So thanks, you
Oh, well,
guys. Oh, she's gonna cry again. I'm
thank
sorry.
you too. No, I'm not. I'm okay. I'm okay.
You're okay, okay.
Thank you. Thank
So
you
I'm
so
gonna
much too.
say, good
Re-
night and happy reading. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, this club would not be what it is without you two. Okay, so stop with the
Oh,
thanking all of us too. Thank you for everything from the
Oh,
beginning.
you're so sweet.
thanks,
Thank you.
Molly.
You're welcome.
It's been an
Yes,
unbelievable experience.
I'm glad.
Mhm.
So now, y'all, have a good night and happy reading. And Lisa's gonna shut us down with
First, cheers to 50 more episodes and PB&J and Molly out. Good night.